Alright, hey guys! It is TsubakiSwagg and I'm coming to you with a review of Magi, Manga Chapter 214, The Homeland Where He Was Born. It'll be in this general area. But this chapter, like, I knew things were going to turn up at the summit, but this chapter really makes you think. Like, I was a little caught off guard by this chapter, but of course it picks up where the last one left off at, where they are at the summit. Well, everyone is at the summit, like the Kill Empire, Liam, and Sandria, along with Alibaba and his household, and Aladdin, Titus, and Yunin. Of course, they address why, well, they ask why Jadar isn't there. Well, Yunin asked why Jadar isn't there, and the Kyo Empire pretty much was like, he has immersed himself in his studies and it means for us to leave him alone, blah, 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 whatever. He still should have been there because Yunan said that he wanted all the Maggies to be there so that way they could all hear the story about Almatoran. So, Aladdin. We come to find out that Aladdin was actually born in Almatoran. He wasn't born in our world, he was born in that world, and King Solomon sent him to this world. That's why he's not one of the 3 Maggies that are supposed to be living on Earth. That's why he's the 4th. But we learn that all the jinns, Althaman, and him are all from Almatoran, which is King Solomon's original world. And Aladdin pretty much breaks it down to the way we can associate our world with all the other worlds that exist in all their entirety is like looking through a mirror. How we can see the mirror, like we can see into the mirror, but we can never come into contact with, well, both things on both sides of the mirror can live on and go through their whole eternity without ever actually meeting the other. So it can go on for a whole eternity without one world actually coming into contact with the other. So, in this, they raised the question as to how Aladdin came and King Solomon sent him here. So, Aladdin, he pretty much goes on to tell us about like Almatoran and how the world was, and originally like there were many different types of species. Well, first he asks, why do we realize, like, have we ever realized that, or why humanity is the only life form on Earth that has intellectual capacity and has such complex language and can create civilizations and everything, and why we are the only ones who can, as opposed to all the other species that exist on this world. And he raises the fact to say that in Almatoran there were different species that had, like, that were just as intellectual as we are, and they all like existed within their own territories, but they didn't know about each other. And as most societies go, once they start expanding and growing bigger, they try to move on to different territories so that way, well, to accommodate their larger numbers. And this was when all the bad stuff started happening in Almatoran, when all the different species started fighting each other, and all these species were going at each other and fighting. Some would be allies, but the majority of them would fight, and they were taking out each other, and like the weakest ones were getting annihilated and the stronger ones were living on. And come to find out, the weakest of the species that lived in Almatoran, they had no fangs and no claws, but they were still the weakest species of all of the species that lived in Almatoran, and it was humanity. So this is when we learn more about, well, King Solomon, whom was the most powerful person on the world, rose up, and we're going to learn, it looks like we're going to learn in the next chapter, how King Solomon came to be and how he helped pretty much save Almator and also created a new world. So that was the end of the chapter, but this chapter was pretty awesome. It really does make you think, and I was compelled to read all the way through the chapter. So I'm looking forward to the next chapter. I want to see like how King Solomon comes into play and how Thaman, how they got to this world and why it is so significant for them to do all these bad things, or if they really are bad. So I would love to hear what y'all think is going to happen in the next chapter. But as always, please remember to comment, rate, and subscribe. And this is TsubakiSwagg saying adios.